Sunday night, I'd watch the practice with none of my friends. I'd turn the dial to ABC to see the creep of the week that Bobby Donald defends. But I'm out of practice.
With your host, Keith Varney.
And fake enthusiasm till you make it, Mike and Deglio.
Back in high school, most
Every night.
my mom watched QVC, so I missed the practice. There was no TiVo. What could I do? Wait 15 years, get fat, then stream it on Hulu. Out of practice.
This is episode 7 of 8. We are recording in a 5-day period. Woo!
Out of practice.
Mike, while the title screen blocks our faces. Mike, when the theme music hits.
Oh my God, yeah. And welcome to the Out of Practice Podcast, a weekly podcast in which me, Keith Varney, and my buddy Mike and Deglio, discuss David E. Kelley's award-winning series, The Practice. This week we are up to season 7, episode 9, The Good Fight. And let me tell you, the camera is a lie. We definitely, when we know we're on camera, we look very different than when we know we're not on camera.
Yeah, the first part of our conversation is always psyching each other up to to get through.
We're gonna do this. No,
And it is fun. I do enjoy it. It's just everything is always on a day where we set aside time, but shit piles up. And then by the time we have to do the show, we got so many other things that you're like, oh, it feels like this huge chunk of time. But then the second that theme music hits, man, I'm like, oh yeah, this is fun.
Well, you know what we could do? Blather on for less time. The running time
Why
of
do a
the episodes
podcast?
we're talking about are 42 minutes. And we talk for way longer than the 42 minutes run of the episode just by ourselves, not even counting.
When I clip them down for YouTube, I always think to myself, oh, this should be short because there's no episode. There's no actual podcast or no practice episode. And then the oopsies are 35, 40 minutes these days but I guess that's the meaty part.
Is it though? I have a question for the listener. Does anybody even
Don't ask.
listen to the oopsies?
Yeah.
Or are we just talking to ourselves?
These are questions we don't actually want answers to, so do not comment.
No, please don't tell us. But, look, we are very excited to be here and doing this. We are here in season 7 of The Practice. There's a lot going on. We're recording these things. Boom, boom, boom. But I think we deserve, we like to make fun of ourselves a lot. We like to be have self-deprecation as part of a brand of our genre. So I feel like we have earned a chance to maybe brag on ourselves just a little bit.
Oh, yes, I forgot all about this, Keith. I'm so excited.
Would you like to make the announcement, Mike?
Can you roll me some music? It's taken years, but it is officially stated that the Out of Practice podcast is the number 147 true crime podcast in Portugal.
In Portugal! I don't think any of that information was what you told me yesterday.
Well, give or take.
Did you just make something up? Hold on.
Give or take.
Okay, so allow me to give you the actual information as opposed to what Mike just made up off the top of his head because he hasn't pulled up the information. You weren't even close on either metric. Excuse me. It took a long time, but the Out of Practice podcast has finally reached the position of 216 in the category of TV and film in Portugal. You got Portugal right.
Only because I'm going to Portugal next week.
Oh my God. Yeah, you were you were definitely way more optimistic. You made us like 140. We're not 140 in anything except for age. Yeah, and you did true crime. What about us? True crime.
It's a true crime that we're not higher on that list. Keith, so in honor, I wasn't going to pack my Out of Practice podcast t-shirt, but now, since I'll be in Portugal, I need a pic of me wearing the Out of Practice podcast. Do you think I'll get recognized?
I mean, I'm a little bit worried that we might have a Beatles or One Direction sort of a situation.
Yeah, it could be.
So be careful in these days of COVID.
I'll film it. I'll film it.
With the fans crowding you. It's can be really overwhelming. So, okay, well, we did that. So I think we should hop into everybody's favorite segment. We haven't done it a little bit, but in these times where we're recording these back to back, we don't have a lot of filings and subpoenas, though we do have one today. So we have a little bit more room for the most important of content.
We have tried for years to make this podcast a success.
We failed, except in Portugal.
The world wanted more. Meow, meow.
2, 3, 4.
Hot cat content. Meow, meow. Hot cat content. Meow, meow. Hot cat content.
Meow.
Yes, indeed. So, I decided for my contribution this week, I just have some good pictures of our good friend Charlie, taken here in the Halloween season, which he very much enjoys. And he likes to. So there he is in his Halloween tube candy corn, which I don't know if you guys know, but I am a huge candy corn person.
Gross.
In fact, I have sitting right next to me at least 3 or 4 pounds of the stuff. Because
That's
I find
absolutely disgusting.
Delicious. Well, but Charlie disagrees, and he sits in his candy corn tube, which he very much enjoys, and gives you a boo. So he also likes resting, napping. And sometimes he's excited. Sometimes he looks like he's wearing the weight of the world, almost like he has to do 8 podcasts in 5 days. But the last thing I'll show you is an action video of him in his tube, which I should have taken during the day. But that dude is very excited to run around in his tube. So there it is. We might have to get him more holiday-themed tubes because America, we're wasteful. But we do enjoy
I should
it.
share then that Tuxie, E.E. Tux, his official name, had his surgery. And it's kind of cute, actually. So nowadays, male neuters, real easy. It's a real easy thing. They don't even do sutures anymore. They just they use like glue or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Oh, Keith, your bandwidth is really letting you down.
I don't know what's
shrunk
going
you.
on.
It shrunk you because your bandwidth is bad. But
I feel so
we're gonna
small.
leave you. We're gonna leave you shrunk for a minute because
I'll get big.
it's funny.
I'll get big.
Oh,
there I am. Hey.
So, but you'll recall.
I guess I didn't get that snip.
Yeah, that Trials and
shrunk when I got
Tribulations, Tux's brother of his litter died during his neutering, and so Jen was really hysterical, and the vet was like, they brought all these people on or whatever. Let me tell you, for a procedure they can get free at the Humane Society, we paid a pretty penny to have the balls cut. But he made it through. Everything's fine. But because we were so worried, they sent him home with the Elizabethan collar and all these things. And they're like, don't let him touch the area for 7 days and make sure he wears a thing. And I was like, Jen, I'm just telling you straight up, no kitten is wearing that goddamn thing for more than 20 to 25 minutes maximum. And that's what happened. We took it off. But I will say he is recovering. He is obsessed with me right now. And I'll show you a photo here if I can. Let me see if I can.
Focus. Oh, there it is.
He is laying right on the computer with us doing office work. He is on the pod today.
On the spaceship, right there. And nonetheless, he's also good and vengeful, which is what I like. I look for in a cat. And he deleted all of your work editing an episode of Toys.
He did. I have a bone to pick with Adobe, but that's a different story. You know, on Macintosh, Keith, everything auto saves all of the time. You don't ever have to save your work on a Mac. It's always saved. But on the PC, even in a hard crash, there is no auto save on Adobe products, which is really just blows my mind.
Yeah, that is odd. It's a nice feature for Mac most of the time. I'm happy that Pro Tools does it. I wish that Photoshop did. Also, I guess
Doesn't make any
also
sense.
an Adobe.
Adobe. Mm-hmm.
Adobe. So there it is, folks. All right. Well, let us move forward and do a little segment we call
Filings and
Oh, we do have. Oh no!
Filings and subpoenas. Filings and subpoenas.
Oh, I tricked him. I did say that we had a filing and subpoena today.
You did. Oh no!
I'm not
God.
I'm not even in the video. That's all right. I'll say it quickly because we got an update.
It's been so long.
From
I
our
don't even
good
have to pick
friend
your cam anymore.
Well, look, it is related to why we haven't had many filings and subpoenas lately. It's because our good friend and moderator Phoenix has been on a road trip, and he has given us a brief update on how it went. Looking forward to more of this in the future, although this will be broadcast sometime in November. So we're going to be so out of date by the time.
boy.
Oh, God. Now I've got a foot. Now I'm in a hairy football. What just happened?
Oh, I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it.
Great. Yes. All right. Well, Phoenix says, I'm just seeing this now because my trip was a calamity.
Oh no!
For now, I'll just summarize it with the fact that a 37-hour drive took me 14 days. But I'm not giving away any spoilers because I'm currently in talks to sell the movie rights. It's basically trains, planes, and automobiles without the levity of John Candy.
Is he moving or I can't remember Yeah, he's moving.
Yeah, he's going to Portland, I think. So yeah, that's well, I'm sorry that was so terrible. It will be a good story that I assume we will probably hear coming up in December, I guess, when this finally airs.
You're telling me that all this time has passed and your mom still has not left a rating or review?
It's amazing. Although to be fair,
has that episode even aired?
I'm not sure Guilting My Mother has even aired. And she is feeling better. She actually got a tick-borne disease from hiking in Vermont. So be careful with ticks, folks. They're serious.
No joke.
Anyway, so that's happening. Also, I haven't checked to see if she left. She might have left it. I just didn't check.
Oh, okay.
So
podcast. We've filed. Maybe she's filed, but we just haven't subpoenaed.
So, and why don't we help people check themselves? How would they check and see if my mother has left a rating and review? Then tell us about it, Mike.
Well, it's a shame that people haven't reviewed our incredible segues, as Keith just did there. You can contact us.
That segue was as efficient as Phoenix's trip across the country.
outofpracticepodcast@gmail.com. Somebody checks that email at some point. That's how we figured out we were 100th in entertainment podcasts in Lebanon. Also,
closest you were before.
Yeah, you can check us on the social media that all the young kids are using these days, at Out of Practice Podcast on Facebook, which is not an evil corporation, and their subsidiary, Instagram. Are you tired of looking at people's food that they're eating? Sure, you can look at pictures of a 20-year-old television show at Out of Practice Podcast. That's a good sell. Hey, are you so excited that you spent the time on going to the Instagram of an old TV show that doesn't even post half the time anymore because Keith is too busy?
Occasionally updated.
You can rank us on it. Let's get up the charts in Portugal, people. 227? We can do better than that. I mean,
still not right.
I had a brother-in-law who was Portuguese, but that didn't work out well, and neither did our jury reviews. But you can do so, should you choose, by leaving us a ranking on any podcast service, hopefully Apple, maybe, and then let us know about it. Yeah, I think that's about all I really want to say about it at this juncture.
Wow. Okay. Well, luckily we only have one more episode to do.
First one wasn't bad. Second one, not too bad. Third one, It's gonna be bad.
It's bad. It's bad. It's actively bad. We are actively being bad right now, and your time is being wasted actively at this very moment.
That's not true. We're gonna watch the show together. It's gonna be great.
We are going to watch the show together. Okay, well, let us actually move forward and go to the segment Mike was anticipating.
Will it work this time? Probably not.
Probably not. We're going to hop back into the time machine to December 8th, 2002. It was a Sunday, and we must answer the eternal question. Mike, what was happening
this day in the basement?
I almost hit the wrong button on purpose, but I didn't.
That would have been clever.
Restraint.
Well, it was almost my brother's birthday. It was almost Christmas in the city. I was living in Brooklyn, New York, and this is one of those things about what coulda, shoulda, woulda been. My cousin was getting married in Mexico, but because of school and some other things, I couldn't go. And so my family got to go and have some fun at an all-inclusive resort in Mexico. Though that marriage didn't last. The lesson I learned from it did last, Keith, and that's when you're in this business, or the business we were in, or tangentially in, somewhat in, I guess you can never really leave. Fun things like weddings and important things like funerals and other stuff like, time with your family is a nice to have and nothing more. Because often the sacrifices you make are those things. Now, I've learned as I've evolved that you can say no to things. But when you first start in the biz, you don't say no a lot. You don't say no a lot. And school is important. I was paying for school, and I couldn't miss juries and rehearsing for the showcases and such. And so I had to make one of my first sacrifices of family time for the business that I'm glad to say rewarded me with fame and riches.
Yeah, I mean, 216 in Portugal. We can't emphasize it enough. So, I mean, I think what that really says is how few people listen to podcasts in Portugal, and clearly somebody just hit the wrong button with their thumb, and that was enough.
Somewhere in Portuguese, they're saying, how do you say in Portuguese? I thought they were going to talk about the practice.
How do you say in Portuguese? Wait, that's not cereal. What the hell is this?
That looks nothing like Sarah Koenig. Okay. Keith,
really
what about
doesn't.
you? You got some pictures in here. Talk to me.
I do. Well, I was actually, I going back to the emails. It's good. I was scheduling and recording Christmas Cop Out 5 sing along with the All-Stars.
Hey.
And this one was fun because all three of myself and my two brothers participated in this album. So Scott sang some songs, Sean sang some songs, I sang some songs, and we were all playing hockey the summer before, so that was the theme that we went. Sean and I were doddering around as old people, and my younger brother was playing for the Connecticut Wolves in Junior A hockey, playing some pretty serious hockey. But what do you do when you're a serious hockey player? You record an album with your dumb brothers. So I have a little selection here because we've been talking about how we were deep into the run up with the war in Iraq, and of course, who had to write a song about it? This guy. So please enjoy a little clip of a song called "Mind of a Child."
Lucky to be an American, but not too proud to wonder, when did we lose the respect of the world? When did we, how did we go so wrong?
Ooh.
With such opportunities.
It's very Billy Joel, buddy.
We found
I was listening to a lot of Billy at that point.
To pretend who we were is who we are. We are what we've become.
So
You undersell your piano playing. You play very well. I always forget how well you play.
oh my God, I was bad then. I'm much better now than I used to be. But that was pretty good for a 22-year-old untrained trained person.
I actually remember that, Keith, because I don't know if you recall, but you were much less self-deprecatory when I first met you, and we were on those first few dates in Titanic. You used to play a lot of your tunes. Whenever there'd be a piano in one of the venues or something, you'd sit down and play. And I remember you playing, I believe, that tune.
Oh, this song?
Was one you shared, yeah.
Yeah, well, it is the only song in my catalog that mentions John Ashcroft by name. So there, I have a lot of songs, but very few of them mention John Ashcroft.
You know what sells, Keith? Tits and ash.
We can all fly like an eagle. With
It's those puns that get you up the charts in Portugal. 216, baby.
Yeah, 216. And hold on. Let me see if I can pull up what I was referring there. John Ashcroft was a singer. "Let the Eagle Soar" is the song. So please enjoy a brief moment of John Ashcroft singing "Let the Eagle Soar" from Elector.
But no more than 6 seconds, or they'll hit us.
He wrote the song.
Wow.
Let the eagle soar.
Up the charts in Portugal.
Never soared before.
All right.
There it is.
Keith, would you
Now
believe
let's
that my
go to war.
performance of Shmuel last week got us a strike?
I saw that. You were so close. They actually picked up on it. Man, the algorithm's getting good.
Yeah, they can sense those strings. They're like, full orchestration, hit it.
All right. Yeah, so that's what was going on in my basement, in your basement. Now, let us take a look at the world. And by the way, when we get a strike from YouTube, it just means we can't monetize the particular video that
No
we're
harm, no
on.
foul.
And you want to know how far we are from monetization is very, very far. And then it basically you get paid per click on the video, which if we were fully monetized, every video we've ever put up about the practice, we'd make almost 23 cents. So I
Hey.
think
Somewhere
we
Jason
will-
Robert Brown's people are pissed that they spent the time. They're like, what? I
feel
thought we were going
like-
to get some money.
of all the people in the world, like Jason would be on that.
You know,
All
Keith,
right.
but listen, to be frank, I know we tease about it a lot. If we wanted to be making money, we'd be talking about the new MacBook Pros like everybody else. Oh, here's what you need to know about the new MacBook Pros. MacBook Pros, it's just talking about the same shit everybody else is talking about. But no, we're talking about the things that matter to people. The practice.
Yeah, the practice. And
It's time for the Out of Practice Podcast's This Day in the World. The greatest hits, the biggest movies, headlines from Vermont, essential sports updates, and for some inexplicable reason, the weather from 20 years ago. Now back to Keith and Mike.
okay, folks. I'm assuming you thought the number one song was
From rocky coast to golden shore.
It's shocking that it wasn't John Ashcroft singing "Let the Mighty Eagle Soar." Oh,
Soar with healing in her wings.
we're
Now,
gonna
just
hear more
imagine
from
this
you,
over.
John.
Keith, you know what? Let it keep playing and play the Eminem riff over it. That's what we should do.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
the land
I think it goes something like this.
sings, only God, no other kings.
Keith, this just in, we've plummeted to 725 on the Portugal charts.
Well, you know what? We're just gonna. I know that technically it was Eminem with "Lose Yourself" as the number one song, but we're gonna stay with John. Just sing to us, John. Well, we talk about the Burlington Free Press. The cover said "The hospital's nuclear secrets?" ? Which is a really compelling title that I would have loved to have clicked on, but I didn't pay for the free trial on newspaper.com, so I'm assuming something exciting was happening with some radiation at the Vermont hospitals. Have they fixed it? Have they not? I don't know. Go to the hospital and find out. The other thing you can find out is the top movie was made in Manhattan. It was not Die Another Day. Oh, wait. Shit. I'm reading the wrong rundown. We are not letting the eagle soar right now.
The eagle has died. The eagle is down.
Oh no. Oh, maybe Key Change will help us.
You know, Keith, a better podcast would just make another pot of coffee and start over.
No, he just ran off the stage. All right.
Do you think the web crawlers are going to pick that up and flag us for that, the whole song we played? Or does nobody care?
I hope so. We shouldn't be monetized for this episode. Forget it. Well, okay. Spoiler alert on the next week's Burlington Free Press. All right. Well, this is more appropriate as it was. The headline was Iraq accounts for weapons. Yeah, boy.
Sure they did. Okay.
There's a certain bard who didn't necessarily care about that. The top movie was indeed Die Another Day.
Hey.
Which took in $12 million in its third week. This was the Pierce Brosnan, Halle Berry lasers from space hitting the Arctic movie with the invisible car. So much fun. All right, well, it is time to move forward to everybody's favorite segment.
Oh no!
Are you ready? We're just gonna do it with John Ashcroft. The New York Football Giants pounded the Dallas Cowboys 37-7 at Giants Stadium. Ron Dane scored 2 touchdowns and Tiki Barber added a third. Kenny Holmes returned a fumble 50 yards for a touchdown. This raised the Giants' records to 8-6, still in the playoff hunt. Meanwhile, the Eagles beat Washington, racist names, finishing the day at 11-3 and securing the NFC East Championship. Wow. I feel like the Eagles were really flying. They were really soaring, Mike.
Could you please make it stop?
Oh, come on. That makes me so
Wow.
happy. All right.
I'm a human being, god damn it! My life has value, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
It's time to talk about
Mercifully.
episode.
Wow.
Oh, what were we talking about? Oh, right. The Practice, Season 7, Episode 9, The Good Fight, which is what you are doing, fighting through this episode,
Yeah.
trying to
More
get
power
to
to
a
you,
point.
fan.
Truly. All right. Well, this was directed by Dwight H. Little, who last directed The Return of Joey Herrick.
Ooh.
And folks, I am sad to say this is the last episode directed by Dwight H. Little, who directed many important episodes of The Practice, some season finales. He did the Super Bowl episode, and this is it. He has moved on with his life. And you know who else moved on with his life? Is David E. Kelley, because he did not write this episode. In fact, it was written by Jonathan Shapiro, who last wrote on Of Thee I Sing. What's that? John, you want to sing some more?
What does Mike think's gonna happen? All
Wants
right.
to move on, and I just want to play John. All right, fine.
No, that's okay. We got enough bumpers. Let's do this thing.
All right, fine. What, Mike? Speaking of jumping the shark, what do you think is going to happen?
Keith, we're gonna get a win this week. I begged for it last week. We're gonna get it. Rebecca and Jamie are gonna get a buddy cop case. All right.
Ooh.
I'm looking at your Easter egg here. That has to do with unlawful search and seizure. All right. And it's a normal case. It's an interesting case, and everything is fine. On the other hand,
That's jumping the shark?
no, that's the good part of the episode. Bobby
all
is
right.
very sad. Okay.
Mhm.
So he is going to.
Don't make me do it.
No, I can't. I was gonna make. I was just remembering why Bobby's sad in the content of the last episode, and realized there are no jokes to tell. Bobby makes a big decision this week in his case, Keith. He decides This is the episode. This is the week. Bobby leaves the practice. He decides he can no longer be a lawyer.
Oh, shit.
And he is going to go and work for victim rights. Victims of sexual abuse in the Catholic Church. Bobby goes to do pro bono work for them, and this is his grand farewell.
I would love that. I'd love him to stay on the show and do that. But yeah, okay. That is interesting. That's bold. I like it.
And
Right.
his exit is sexy because I hate to see him go, but I sure as hell like watching him walk away. If you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I do know what you're saying.
I'm saying he has a nice
right.
ass, Keith.
Oh, is
Keith?
that? Oh,
Keith?
oh.
Keister. He has a nice keister,
I
Keith.
thought you liked the cut of his jib, but no.
That's the cut of his ass
right.
crack.
Built by toils and struggles, God has led us.
Hey, folks. Do you want to see us continue to make asses of ourselves? Well, you can at least listen to it. Do so by going over to your podcast service of choice. If you're in Portugal, we should be right up there at the top of that list. If you're anywhere else, God help you as we enjoy the good fight. And we'll be back for the after show after these stirring words by John Ashcroft.
Yet begun to fly. It's
And we are back, baby.
We are back.
Yeah, I forgot to write a thing.
Good. That's right. They're always funnier on the fly.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, folks. It is now time to recap this episode not once, but twice, starting with
2, 3, 4.
Why did I count myself in?
To remember what
I
just
don't know.
happened
It's
on
just
the
you.
show.
There's no one else there.
Segment.
Guys, Bobby's not just pissed. He's loony. So he's like McRambo, but sad McRambo, or like mentally challenged McRambo. Not challenged, but disturbed. He's having a tough go at it, guys. So he kind of basically throws this case, but wins it anyway because he sad eyes the jury, and that always is very effective. In the other case, hey, can a bumper sticker say, search my car? Apparently yes, but no. Also, don't flirt with the judge. Not a good look. Jimmy's an asshole. So is Eleanor, but they apologized.
Okay. Now, could you do that again, but just in fewer syllables on the fly? I'll be counting.
Of course you will, you son of a bitch. Bobby lost his shit. Can you search without consent? Let the eagle fly.
Yes. That was so good.
It had really nothing to do
I
with the
can't
episode.
believe you just nailed that. You've earned this.
Oh, let the eagle soar. That's what I meant to say.
like she's never
Soared before.
Imagine if you just tuned in for the after show. You'd be like, what is happening?
Been sure. Okay. All right, it is time
Ladies and
for
gentlemen,
that.
the Out of Practice podcast, in unofficial, unsolicited, unfactual association with David E. Kelly Productions, proudly present
Oopsie.
the Oopsies, celebrating excellence in acting good, lawyering good, guesting good, and being Tom Brady. Not to mention, this is where we rate the episode and stuff. Now, here are your hosts, Keith and Mike.
What the hell are the oopsies?
Well, Jackie, we are going to let some awards soar, starting with... Yeah! Give us that E.
Well, there's, we got a couple of, I liked Stubblefield here, or whatever his actual name was. I thought he actually did a pretty good case, though he did lose,
He did.
Bobby Bobby is not being rewarded for his performance this week. He might have got the client might. Oh, is your computer dying now?
Don't worry about it. I'm configuring Microsoft Enterprise 2007 while I pull up our stats.
Good. Eugene, no. Swakheim, no. Helen probably deserves a pat on the back for like legally being like, "Yo, is Bobby cool?" She almost like
she was like ethically. She was the most ethical lawyer today.
But I think that, well, I mentioned it before, though I wasn't like loving the meat in the pot pie. Nonetheless, the pot pie was satiating and steamy, and Jamie was given a tough go at it here. I mean, she started off real bad, and her client went from the best case scenario for her client actually in this was 2 years in prison for a possession charge, she ends up walking. And not only that, but because they went with the defense that they went with, they actually set a precedent that could help other people in her situation. So I think ultimately the ramifications of Jamie's work this week go a lot further than anywhere else.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Jamie is definitely the MVL. Because I thought she like you said, it didn't start well. She overcame her own friends and partners who were really fucking with her, and a client who wasn't necessarily doing herself any favors. She made it about what it was really about, and she kicked it on Fourth Amendment grounds. Like that's her job. Her job is to find the weakness in the case, exploit it, and get her customer. Get her client off. So congratulations to Jamie Stringer on your MVL. Okay, Mike, this is going to wake you up. It is time. It's time to dance, kids. It's let us make our mighty eagles soar with dance.
Already famous cause you've been on TV, getting a paycheck, or the first entry on your IMDb.
This is disturbing.
Best actor. You are the best guest actor. You are the best guest actor on the episode.
America! America!
Say, can you?
I'm so ashamed of him right now.
Hundreds of episodes, and this one is absolutely the worst.
Oh, no.
I just can't wait for how many flags we get for Let the Eagles Soar. I mean, you played it so many times in such lengths.
Well, look, it's a flag is the operative word. We're being patriotic.
The general rule of thumb for those who don't know is that you should never play any sort of like media more than 30 seconds, and we did not abide.
Let the eagles soar.
America!
I don't even know what's happening. Hey, you know what I want to do this week? I think it was the actor who played Judge Swakheim again.
Oh, interesting.
I think he's just got it down. Yeah, Paul Dooley's got it down. He can throw you a one-liner, but he can also like really ground it, and he can be he's also like a little get off my lawn. I just think everything he does works for me in the face of the fact that he was his initial character was like sort of just like a blathering fool. So I think it's pretty cool to see him as one of our like mainstays now.
Yeah, I'd like to let you know, as I wrote down into Excel here, the data. The data is very important. I did credit him as Paul Dookie, so that's something to keep an eye on. So congratulations, Paul Dookie. No, I agree with you. I mean, I think he was the grounding force in this episode. Clifton Powell did a good job, but it was sort of like a one-note thing. But Dooley has now brought in a fully formed, lived-in character, and I really appreciate his work. So, otherwise, if we don't give it to him, the Obsidian Order is coming for us.
Yeah,
Star Trek fans know what I mean by that. All right, then it's time for...
You killed your podiatrist or blew the case, but you let a single tear run down your face. You're the best actor on the show.
Now, Keith, here's where it gets interesting, because I'm going to need your help, because you've seen the episode twice, and I assume that the time you watched it prior, you weren't in the weird mental state we're in right now.
I'm always in a weird mental
Yeah,
state,
that's true.
But yes.
So my opinions right now are colored by just my sort of lunacy. The thing, now Dylan is acting, and he has given me emotions. But my issue, and I think one of my issues with the episode we'll talk about, is that we just saw one, if not two episodes of Bobby like being the best Bobby. Three-dimensional, really grounded, but like full of feels and behaving in a way I think people would behave. And here, I don't want to say he's overacting, but it just feels a little bit a lot. And it's hard for me to decipher whether that's the writing, whether it's the acting, whether it's just kind of where I'm at. It just feels like a little bit like, that's like trying too hard. But it's something, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But I actually like, and I think maybe this is my first MVL, and Kelly Williams has a couple scenes where she's just excellent. Eugene has some excellent stuff. I mean, everybody's great in this episode, as always. And I'm not saying Dylan's not doing a great job. It just feels a little, that everything with Bobby is feeling a little heavy-handed right now. Not that it's not justified. The stuff he's going through is intense. I'm not saying that. It's just, I don't know. I can't quite figure it out. But what I do want to credit, we already credited Jamie Stringer. I want to credit actress who plays Jamie Stringer.
Main character on the show, Jessica Capshaw.
Jessica, I think this is a great episode for her because they allow her to do exactly what they give the opportunity to Jamie to do, is to not just be the other pretty lawyer in the law firm who's like coming up with last minute, saving cases at the last minute. She has a full case. She gets to argue it. She gets to... they give her a lot to play. I think that she's my best actor. Sorry, that wasn't very coherent.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the first time on this episode. No, I think your points about Dylan's performance and Bobby's arc throughout this episode.
It's a lot of 11. It is a lot of
11. And normally I'm more apt to agree with you that maybe they're pushing Bobby a little hard. That the gas is a little heavy on Bobby sometimes. But actually, in this case, I think it's appropriate, and I think this episode deals with it. It's a little bit of a thing for tires, but this episode deals with, I think, PTSD that Bobby is going through, and I don't think they necessarily thought about it that way. But looking at it now, 20 years later, I think Bobby genuinely has PTSD, which would explain that sort of the extremity of his behaviors at that point. So I kind of get it. But
didn't we do Bobby with PTSD before when he got choked out in the...
But not as... I think they're actually doing it better with this than I am. I think the damage done by moral injury is a very legitimate and serious thing. And I know that people who deal with PTSD coming back from war will deal with a similar thing where they had to participate in or even just witness something that so affronted their own morality that it gives them PTSD. So I think it's actually pretty legitimate. I'm still giving it to Dylan. I thought Jessica did a great job, but Dylan gets my vote. You want to know who doesn't get my vote? That button.
The Tom Brady Award for being Tom Brady.
Clearly, it's Tom Brady at a lectern singing "Let the Eagles Soar."
Of course it is. Of course it is. Congratulations, Tom Brady at a lectern singing "Let the Eagle Soar." Let me write it down. At a lectern, singing "Let the Eagles Soar."
Well, I just want to
Okay.
keep making the titles longer and longer so that the Photoshop is just you listing the thing.
It's literally just text. Well, that'll save me time. All right, folks, you have come so far. You have taken such a journey with us. And if you're still here, you're dying to find out.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to announce how many spare tires this episode gets.
Yeah, I don't disagree that I'm compelled with the Bobby thing. I'm curious as to, especially when David's not writing, and as to what are we trying to say overall. Like, I get the question. We've been asking the question since episode 1. Like, what is the role of the defense attorney? Are they good guys, bad guys? Where does it all live? And maybe it's just kind of like rough because we're so late in the run of the show. And I feel like we change that viewpoint furious and often. Each one of our main players has had a moment where they get rock bottom and they're like, what am I doing? And here Bobby's doing it also at the mercy of his clients. His clients are put in jeopardy. And it seems like he's making a very strong case as to why this is a shithole profession and why we should not be excused for or that there's some sort of culpability in the people that they defend that they shouldn't. And whilst that question is interesting, I don't know. It's sitting. It's just my mood today, but it was a downer. It's a bit of a downer, and I like that Bobby is troubled, and I like that Bobby is complex, and he's not just a cute lawyer who always wins. I like that. I just. You know what? I said it about Lindsay when we were doing the Lindsay thing. I think they're handling the Bobby character with much more humanity than the shit we put Lindsay through. I just want them to be okay. I know that his time. See, I have the knowledge, the retrospect knowledge that he doesn't last the whole run of the show, right? That Spader comes in at some point and Bobby must leave. That means maybe not. I guess I don't know for sure that Dylan McDermott leaves the show. I think he does, but I don't know for sure. I just want everything to be okay, Keith. And it's as time is, and as sand is running through the hourglass of the show, it doesn't seem like everything's going to be okay. And that makes me sad a little bit in my heart. And also, like, I feel like this story, this case is just a placeholder for continuing last week's case, right? So it feels a little, just like Bobby's defense, it feels a little half-assed. Like, I feel like there was a story to tell here, but we're not really telling that story. We're telling another story still. So I don't know. I'm lukewarm clearly on the Bobby case. However, in the other case, I also feel lukewarm. I think it's great for what it does for Jamie. I think it's great for the relationships. I guess her relationship with Eleanor, and I don't really know how. It feels like she forgave Eleanor. I guess Eleanor's apology was better than Jimmy's.
Better than Jimmy's, yeah.
So I guess that's why it was a better reception. Eleanor has been giving her a lot more bullshit, though, on top of that. But let's not get into the personal drama. The case, I thought, asked a really good question, and I was a little let down by... it's funny. I don't want to give her too much credit, though, because if they were to still have offered that deal, that girl would be in prison for 2 years. She was ready to go back on it. So I don't want to give her full, like, rah, you saved the day, because you were only put in that situation because they wouldn't give you the deal, Yeah. Regardless, I thought it was a better case. I like the way the judge handled it. I like the way both Stubblefield played it and the way Jamie played it. I thought it was well done. I'm not jumping out of my chair. I thought it could have been, we could have explored it more. This case and the show for that case ended up being a lot more about the sort of how her case and the way she ran it affected her relationships more than it was just about the courtroom stuff. And I feel like it was a case that could have been more about the case. If that makes sense, what I'm saying.
Sure.
So clearly I'm a little about this episode. Last week I thought was sort of a dumpster fire. So it definitely was not in the 5s and 6s. I think we're still well acted. I think we're still telling stories and the plot is still moving forward. So I think it's a solid even 7 for me.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because you and I, we almost always agree in the basic tenor of things on the episodes, but I like this one way more than you do, for a couple of different reasons. The Jamie case, I really like a discussion of the Fourth Amendment more than yet another serial killer. Right? We've had so many murders and black widows and serial killers to the point where I'm ready to stab myself in the ear with one more of them. And I think that the Fourth Amendment conversation felt both timely to the time, post 9/11, we're throwing away our freedoms, but also to our time. And now it's search and seizure of your iPhone more than your car. But, the what do I consent to? What do I not consent to? What are the and how much am I willing to give away in a user agreement on my iPhone is probably more than the damn bumper sticker did. And I think that's an interesting thing to discuss. And I didn't hate the way that she closed that. I thought as a TV watcher, that was the appropriate close, even if it wasn't necessarily for the case, if it were a documentary. The Jimmy and Eleanor playing a prank on her, I didn't love it. It seemed more in character for Jimmy than it did for Eleanor, but as has been pointed out by some of our listeners, I'm much more aspirational about Eleanor's morality than the character is actually written. I always keep saying that's not Eleanor's character. Well, if they write it, it kind of is. I just don't want it to be. But I thought the apology was really good. And sometimes, look, we all make mistakes, and a mistake and a good apology can forward a relationship more than just generally being decent. So I didn't hate that either. And the sort of shitty treatment of that character, it happens. I get it. And being stuck in that horrible position that is uniquely gendered, flirting with a judge in that kind of case, that's a uniquely and shittily gendered issue. And I thought that was, I don't know, it's interesting. In Bobby's case, the case itself, who cares, right? It's all about Bobby's journey and his dealing with the previous case. And as I said before, I bought it as PTSD from what he's going through. And I like that the show addresses the consequences of people who have impossible jobs sometimes. And it's not just defense attorneys who are put in a position to do reprehensible things or things that are difficult as part of their occupation. You have social workers go to work every day and see horrible things and have to make horrible decisions. You're in the military, you're being forced to do things that go against your own morality for some sense of the greater good. And having the show take seriously the mental health repercussions of having some of those jobs. Now, people have to have those jobs, right? There need to be defense attorneys. There need to be soldiers. There need to be social workers who have to make horrible decisions, taking children away or whatever it is for the greater good. And I think pointing out the mental health challenges of these people and taking that seriously, I think is of value. I think it is of use to tell that story and to see Bobby suffer from it. This feels like this has a point, as opposed to 6 seasons of what are we doing? Let's just have another drink and fade to black and not actually have it mean anything. This feels like it has a meaning to it. Nits to pick. I thought the flashback was heavy-handed and unnecessary. I thought that was exploitative and gross and wildly unnecessary. Bobby, Dylan is doing all the work we need to know. We know he's suffering from it. We don't need to see that weird dream sequence. So, not necessary. But all in all, at the end of that, I think I liked this episode. And I'm going to give it an 8.61.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we're in a big fight about this episode.
Yeah, I don't disagree, and I don't think Dylan was overdoing it. I mean, I get the stakes are high. In fact, they've gone over and above to tell us, this has affected him to his very core. Obviously, he's very spiritual, and this has made him question his faith and his everything. So I get that. I just, what else is bothering me too? And this, I'm not passing judgment on the episode, but like, we have to talk a little bit inside baseball here, because I need a reason in my mind to not be mad about it. So,
okay.
I love the Jamie character. I understand in the lore why they brought her on, because, like Lindsay was in jail and we needed some help. Mm-hmm. But let's not forget the other First Amendment case we had recently after 9/11, what we were dealing with. That was, remember, Rebecca's big sort of take them away, and we don't know what happened to people's rights after.
Right.
Or,
people being renditioned and after 9/11, right?
Never talked about it again. Never gave any sort of closure to it. Once again, set Rebecca up with a huge stakes case, and we're like, finally, Rebecca's getting hers. We don't talk about it again. We'll just do a smaller stakes version later with Jamie. Rebecca doesn't get a line in this episode. I have to imagine Lisa Gay Hamilton was just working on other stuff, right? That has to be it. They can't just, because they brought a whole nother lawyer on, this could have easily been a Rebecca case. Yeah. Maybe should have been. Perfect Rebecca Cricket case. And it's just bothering me that they keep bringing new people. Maybe they're like, we have to shuffle the deck because our ratings are bad. But I don't know, man. For some reason, it's sick in the back of my head. Just the way that was nagging at us that Lindsay was being that they were sort of like smashing the Lindsay character. What has happened with Rebecca? She had one line last week.
Yeah. She wasn't in this episode at all. Yeah. And, I don't know what to say other than it's not great. I mean, obviously replacing, a strong female black character with a pretty little blonde woman is, like that's a tough thing to justify. Although I like Jamie and I really like, I like everything about it. It's great. It's just tough that, I mean, what are we saying? We're saying that Rebecca and Lisa Gay Hamilton is criminally underused on the practice, and I don't think that's news to anybody.
The Jimmy character, I like that they use him sparingly. Every once in a while he gets a case. Every once in a while he gets to be sort of the butt of a joke and then gets to redeem himself. I understand what we do with that character, but Rebecca, once they stopped letting her be just Bobby's conscience and giving him advice during an episode, like interchanging her and Eugene for that, they really led us to believe that they were going to let her be more, and it's never really got there. And the few times where they've let her get up to the plate, they've had her bunt.
Yep. It's true. They flirt with using all of what Lisa Gay Hamilton has to offer, and then they don't. And it's disappointing. Disappointing to us all. But what's not disappointing? It's us moving forward. Oh, wait, no, we have to do the Easter egg.
Oh, right. Let's
forget the Easter egg.
Well, that's our own bumper sticker, right?
Yes, which I will say that I went online looking for I do consent to searching this car bumper sticker, could not find it. The image does not exist on the internet, as at least in the 30 seconds that I looked. All the images are I do not consent. So perhaps we have learned a little something. But you know what you haven't learned from? Another episode of the Out of Practice podcast. If you would like to email us and communicate with us, you can email us at outofpracticepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Out of Practice Podcast. While you're there, leave us a rating and review. You can fly like the eagles, and we'll be very happy to read it and have you join the jury. While you're at it, we would like to thank our founding sponsors, Jorge Navoa, Cloud Lover 69. You've got me on preview, so I no longer see our list, and Furry Coon.
You can absolutely join that list. You know what, folks? This crap ain't cheap. Do you want to be? I mean, like, our crappiness isn't cheap. Still,
it's free.
It's well produced. Is it? There's links in the show notes. You can give us $1 if you want. Write it off, for that matter. Tell a friend, watch the Star Trek show. Guys, even when we shit the bed, we're happy you're along for the ride. Always. That said, if you wouldn't mind, could I search your car and see if I can find any laser sounds in that there glove box? Maybe?
Lasers.
Let's do another one.
Jesus.